Rain hammered the cracked asphalt of Jefferson City like the frantic drumming of a warning, bouncing off the rusted fire escapes and neon signs that flickered with a tired, blue glow. The streets were empty but for the occasional scuttling of a stray dog or the drip of water from a leaky awning. In this city, even the nights felt hollow, as if every shadow carried the weight of something unsaid. Beneath one such shadow, crouched in the doorway of a boarded-up deli, a figure stirred. She was small, impossibly frail, and her skin shimmered faintly in the dim light, an unearthly pale lavender that made her look more ghost than girl. Her hair, long and silver, clung to her shoulders in rain-soaked strands. Eyes wide and iridescent, she scanned the empty street, lips parting in a silent plea for mercy. She was starving, her stomach hollowed by hunger that clawed at her relentlessly, yet she hid from the world that had already turned against her. From the corner of the alley, laughter erupted. It was sharp, cruel, carried on the wind. A group of humans, 3 teenagers bundled in oversized jackets, sauntered down the street. Their sneakers sloshed through puddles as they spotted her crouched figure. "Look at that thing," one sneered. His name was Ryan Wallace, a lanky boy with sharp features and a smirk that never reached his eyes. "She's weird. Freaky. She looks like she hasn't eaten in days," said Mara Lynn, her voice tinged with mock sympathy. "Bet she's starving, huh? Too bad." The third, Jake Hensley, laughed so loudly it echoed off the alley walls, a sound designed to intimidate. "Starving alien girl. Someone get a camera." The girl flinched but did not run. Fear anchored her, yes, but there was something more, something carefully calculated in the way her gaze flicked between them, measuring, observing. Every instinct told her to flee, but survival demanded patience. And then, unexpectedly, the laughter halted. A fourth voice spoke, calm, deliberate, and heavy with kindness. "Come eat with us." It was soft but carried a weight that cut through the sneers and mockery. The alien girl froze, eyes locking onto the speaker, a young man named Daniel Hughes. He stood slightly apart, tall and solidly built, with a mop of dark brown hair plastered to his forehead by rain. His jacket was worn, not flashy, his shoes scuffed, but his presence radiated a quiet authority. Unlike the others, he did not approach with cruelty. He simply extended a hand, palm up, as if offering safety itself. Ryan snorted. "What? You serious? You gonna invite the alien girl to your party?" Daniel ignored him, his gaze steady, unwavering. "I'm serious. Come. Eat." Something shifted in the girl's posture. Hunger screamed louder than fear, gnawing at her resolve. Slowly, cautiously, she rose, her body trembling from malnutrition, and followed Daniel into the flickering light of a nearby diner. Inside, the diner smelled of fried eggs and coffee, warm and strange after the cold, wet street. The humans who had laughed moments ago watched from a distance, unsure what to make of Daniel's choice. Plates clattered, the hum of conversation filled the air, yet there was a quiet bubble around Daniel and the girl that none dared penetrate. Daniel guided her to a booth in the corner, giving her space but offering reassurance. "Sit," he said. "I'll get you something to eat." Her eyes darted to the menu, but it made no sense to her. The words were foreign, the shapes meaningless. She shook her head, too weak to speak. Daniel nodded, understanding, and waved to the waitress. "2 plates," he said, "one for me and one for her. Something hearty. She hasn't eaten in a while." The waitress, a tall woman with red hair and sharp eyes, glanced at the girl. Sure." The girl's hands shook as the food arrived, a steaming plate of scrambled eggs, bacon, and toast, the aroma filling the air like sunlight after rain. She stared, hesitant, and then hesitated no more. She reached for the toast, her small fingers trembling as she broke it apart. Hunger overtook her caution, and she ate like she had not eaten in weeks. Daniel watched silently, a faint smile tugging at his lips. He did not rush her, did not ask questions. He simply sat across from her, sharing the warmth of his presence. Outside, the laughter of Ryan, Mara, and Jake faded as they walked away, their cruelty unanswered, their amusement meaningless in the face of compassion. The alien girl paused between bites, eyes lifting to meet Daniel's. They were still wary, but something fragile had begun to bloom, trust. It was tiny, almost imperceptible, yet it was there. "Why?" she whispered, voice barely audible over the clatter of dishes. Daniel's smile was gentle. "Because everyone deserves to eat. Even if they look different." The words were simple, but to the girl, they carried a weight heavier than any weapon, a promise stronger than any chain. Outside, the storm began to ease, the rain slowing to a soft drizzle. The city, dark and cold, felt a fraction warmer, a fraction safer. In the corner of that diner, an alien girl, trembling and starving, found a moment of grace she had not known existed. But even as she ate, Daniel knew the danger was far from over. Someone, or something, was watching, and not all eyes were kind. The city had not forgiven her for being different, and not everyone would accept the hand extended in friendship. The question was not whether she would survive this night, but what it would take to survive the nights ahead. And somewhere deep in the shadowed corners of Jefferson City, a plan began to take shape, a plan that could either save them both or destroy everything they had just begun to build. The diner's fluorescent lights flickered as night pressed against the glass, casting long, wavering shadows across the linoleum floor. Outside, Jefferson City murmured with the sounds of distant sirens and the occasional hiss of a train over the tracks. Inside, it smelled of fried food and coffee, warm and comforting, but the alien girl, whose name she had yet to reveal, could feel the tension crawling beneath the surface, like the restless tapping of claws against a closed door. Daniel Hughes watched her carefully. She ate in small, precise bites now, her hands steadier, though her eyes constantly scanned the room. She was not only cautious but calculating. Every sound, every flicker of movement, was noted. That attentiveness made Daniel's chest tighten with concern. She was intelligent, far beyond what any human child could hope to be, and yet, she was vulnerable. Starvation had left her frail, her body a thin vessel for something more than human. "Are you alone?" Daniel asked softly, breaking the silence. The girl froze. Her fork hovered over the plate, a shard of scrambled egg balanced like a question mark. Finally, she shook her head. Her voice, when it came, was a fragile whisper, alien in its cadence but perfectly comprehensible. "No, not really. But they can't follow me here." Daniel's brow furrowed. "Who?" Her eyes flicked toward the window, where the rain had stopped and puddles mirrored the streetlights. "They, hunters. They want me. They've been chasing me since the crash." Daniel's stomach tightened. A crash? She meant a ship, he realized before she said the word. Her body had arrived here through means he could not yet fathom. And now she was hunted. By whom or what, he could only guess. But he knew instinctively that whatever it was dangerous. The girl's hands trembled slightly as she continued eating. Daniel resisted the urge to reach across the table. Physical contact might terrify her. Instead, he offered the only tool he could, his patience. "You're safe here, for now," he said. "I'll make sure of that." Her gaze softened, just for a moment. That moment, Daniel knew, was a fragile bridge between fear and trust. But then the diner's bell rang, harsh and sudden, and Daniel's body tensed. 3 figures entered, dripping wet and sneering with recognition: Ryan Wallace, Mara Lynn, and Jake Hensley. Their laughter was quiet now, restrained, but it carried the same venom as before. Well, Ryan said, his eyes scanning the diner until they landed on the girl. "Look who's finally getting fed." "You planning to make friends, Daniel?" Mara smirked. "Looks like your alien buddy is enjoying human food." "Cute." Jake leaned against a counter, crossing his arms. "Think she's gonna eat your fries too, or are you just some alien babysitter now?" Daniel remained seated, calm, though inside, his mind raced. The last thing he wanted was a confrontation, but he also knew that these 3 wouldn't leave peacefully. He had to protect her, but he had to buy time. "Why don't you sit down?" Daniel said evenly, his voice firm but inviting. "There's plenty of room." The trio exchanged glances, smirks fading. "We're not here to eat," Ryan said, though Daniel could detect the twitch of uncertainty in his tone. "We just want to know what she's doing here. Why are you helping her?" Daniel shrugged, a practiced gesture of casual confidence. "Because it's the right thing to do." Isn't that enough?" They laughed again, but the sound lacked conviction. Mara leaned closer to Ryan, whispering something, and Daniel caught just enough to realize they were planning something, not just bullying, but something more deliberate. The alien girl's hands clenched the edge of the table. Daniel saw the subtle shift in her stance, defensive, alert. He could feel the pulse of her energy, faint but undeniable, a reminder that while she appeared fragile, she was far from powerless. Then, as if the tension were not enough, a shadow detached itself from the corner of the diner. Taller than any human, moving with silent, deliberate precision. Its form was indistinct, shifting like smoke under the lights, but Daniel knew instantly it wasn't human. The girl froze mid-bite. Her eyes widened. "They found me," she whispered, voice tinged with fear. Daniel's heartbeat quickened. He rose slowly, keeping himself between her and the shadow. "Stay behind me," he instructed. "No sudden moves." The shadow advanced, unnervingly calm, and the air around it seemed to thicken. Then it paused, tilting its head, studying the group. A low hum vibrated through the diner floor, subtle but charged with menace. "You're safe, for now," Daniel said quietly to the girl. He didn't know if it was true, but he had to give her hope, a lifeline in the midst of terror. The shadow receded as quickly as it had appeared, vanishing into the rain-slick streets outside. Daniel exhaled slowly, relief mingling with unease. Whoever, or whatever, was hunting her was close. Too close. The alien girl's hands shook violently now, but she continued eating, though more slowly. Each bite seemed to fortify her, though Daniel knew it would take much more than food to prepare her for the dangers ahead. What are they?" she asked, voice trembling. "Hunters," Daniel said simply. "Some human, some not. We'll figure it out. But for now, you need strength." Outside, Ryan, Mara, and Jake had left, but Daniel knew they weren't gone for good. Teenagers with malice in their hearts had a way of resurfacing. But even as he considered how to keep her safe, he realized a larger truth: Jefferson City itself was no longer just a backdrop. It was a stage, and every corner, every alley, could conceal a threat or an ally. Over the next hour, the alien girl ate steadily, her body regaining a fraction of its strength, but her mind remained alert, flicking between memories of the crash, the hunters, and the human she could, so far, trust. Daniel didn't ask questions beyond what she offered. He knew trust could not be forced. When the last plate was cleared, the girl finally looked up at him, a glimmer of something almost human in her eyes. "Why, are you helping me?" Daniel smiled faintly, though it didn't quite reach his eyes. "Because you deserve it," he said. "Everyone deserves it. Even when no one else believes it." Her shoulders slumped, and for the first time since he had met her, she allowed herself to lean slightly toward him. Not fully, but enough to let him know she was listening, watching, thinking. Daniel knew then that survival wouldn't just be about avoiding the hunters. It would be about trust, connection, and choosing allies wisely. And as the rain ceased outside, leaving streets slick and reflective, he understood something else: this girl, small and fragile though she appeared, might be the key to a future that neither of them could yet imagine. But even in this moment of fragile peace, Daniel's instincts screamed that the next attack would come soon. And when it did, it would have to be ready, or risk losing everything. For now, though, she ate. And in that act, simple as it seemed, a bond began to form, one that might just turn the tide in the battles yet to come. The city was quieter now, though silence in Jefferson City was never truly peaceful. Streetlights glimmered off rain-slicked pavement, casting long, uneasy shadows. Daniel Hughes guided the alien girl, her silver hair plastered to her shoulders, her pale lavender skin still faintly luminescent, through a labyrinth of back alleys. She moved with a new confidence, her hunger sated but her alertness sharper than ever. Every shadow might hide an enemy, every whisper of wind could be a warning. "We need to get you out of the open," Daniel murmured, glancing over his shoulder. "They'll keep looking. Humans, whatever else is chasing you, it won't stop until they find you." She nodded silently. Her small hands gripped the edges of her jacket as if holding on to her courage itself. She still did not speak much, but her eyes, those vast iridescent eyes, told him she was processing everything, calculating, learning, surviving. They reached a vacant warehouse on the edge of the industrial district, a place Daniel had scouted before. Inside, the shadow swallowed them, but the faint smell of oil and metal was grounding, a reminder that this city had corners humans overlooked. He turned to her. "This will be safe for the night," he said. "We can plan from here." For a moment, her shoulders relaxed, the tension easing from her posture. But then a noise outside, soft, deliberate, almost imperceptible, made her freeze. Daniel's hand instinctively went to the baseball bat he carried, but his instincts told him it wasn't just human trespassers this time. A figure emerged from the shadows. Not human. Tall, cloaked, movements fluid and deliberate, the being's presence made the air seem heavier. The alien girl's body tensed, trembling with fear, but also recognition. "They found me," she whispered. Daniel stepped forward. "Then we faced them, together." The figure paused, then tilted its head. It was studying them, measuring. Daniel noticed the faint hum in the air, the same vibration from the diner. Whatever this was, it was aware of her, and it had patience. Outside, rain began to fall again, soft and steady, washing the streets clean. Daniel felt a flicker of defiance ignite within him. Whatever hunted her, whatever dangers awaited, he wouldn't let fear dictate their choices. He had already chosen, she would not face this alone. The alien girl, sensing his determination, straightened. Her small hands glowed faintly, a subtle but undeniable power she had yet to fully control. Daniel's jaw tightened. Together, they would survive. She didn't need him to shield her completely, she needed him to believe in her. And he did. A sudden sound broke the tense stillness, laughter. Ryan, Mara, and Jake. They had followed, thinking mischief would be enough, but this time, the stakes were far higher. "You think we're scared?" Ryan called, his voice brittle with uncertainty. "We're just curious." Mara's smirk had faltered. "Yeah, what's she gonna do? Eat us?" Jake shifted nervously, realizing the subtle energy in the air was unlike anything they had ever encountered. Daniel's gaze swept over them, sharp. "Step back," he warned. "This isn't a joke." The alien girl stepped forward slightly, her faint glow intensifying. It wasn't threatening, not yet, but it was undeniable. Her hunger for survival had transformed into something fiercer, the will to protect herself and those who cared for her. For a moment, the humans hesitated. Fear mingled with disbelief. Then, slowly, Daniel spoke. "You want to see strength? You want to see power? Then don't just stand there laughing at someone who is starving. Sit. Eat. Learn what it means to care." The words hung in the rain-drenched night like a challenge. Something shifted in the humans, maybe fear, maybe shame, but they stepped back, uncertain. The alien girl turned to Daniel. She began, hesitating. "Shoo," he said softly. "It's okay. We're safe for now." He reached for a small pack he had brought with him, supplies, simple but nourishing. He placed some in front of her. "Eat," he said. "Grow strong." Her small hands trembled as she picked up the food. The humans watched silently, the laughter gone, replaced by a strange, uneasy respect, or at least curiosity. She ate quickly but with control, every bite a declaration, "I will not be powerless." Daniel finally exhaled, relief flooding him. The moment was fragile, yes, but it was real. Trust had been extended and accepted. The alien girl looked at him, eyes filled with a new warmth, gratitude, but also something deeper, hope. "You saved me," she said softly. "No," Daniel replied, shaking his head. "We saved each other. You just didn't know it yet." Outside, the hunters or whatever had been following her remained unseen, waiting. But inside that warehouse, a bond had been forged that was stronger than fear. The alien girl would no longer be alone, and Daniel knew that together, they could face whatever came next. Hours passed. The rain stopped. Dawn broke with a pale, hesitant light, washing the warehouse in soft gold. The alien girl, now visibly stronger, stood at the edge of the shadows, gazing at the city. Daniel joined her, hands brushing briefly, a silent confirmation of their alliance. "They'll come again," Daniel said, voice low but steady. "I'll be ready," she replied, her voice stronger now, confident. "You won't have to be," he said. "I'll be with you. And soon, we'll show them what it means to fight together, not alone." The humans from before had disappeared, leaving only memories of cruelty behind. But that was the past. The future, Daniel realized, was not defined by who had laughed while she starved. The future was defined by who had chosen to share their strength, their food, their courage. The alien girl looked at him, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "Come eat with us," Daniel repeated softly. Not as a plea, but as a promise. And for the first time since her arrival on Earth, she understood. Safety was more than food. It was connection. Compassion. The courage to reach out even when others laughed. The city stretched before them, uncertain but full of possibility. Together, they stepped into the morning light, ready to face whatever came next, not as predator and prey, not as alien and human, but as allies, bound by trust, courage, and the simple, profound act of sharing a meal. And for the first time, Daniel felt something rare in Jefferson City: hope. The alien girl, once starving and hunted, walked beside him, not as a victim, but as a survivor, as a friend, as something extraordinary finally allowed to live freely. The laughter that had once been cruel was gone, replaced by quiet strength. And in the light of dawn, they moved forward together, unbroken, unbowed, ready to face the world that had tried to reject them but would now learn, slowly, that compassion was stronger than cruelty, and kindness could save even the most alien of hearts.